As we head into what's traditionally the busiest season of the year for us in the real estate market, we've seen the number of homes listed for sale increase significantly. In fact, they're up 23% relative to this time last year. And while the number of sales is actually down slightly relative to this time last year, prices continue to inch up. So what exactly is happening in the market, and what do we expect to see as we continue into the spring? I'm Adina with Adina YVR Vancouver Real Estate Group and Oakland Realty, here with your April 2024 market update. Let's jump right into the numbers and take a look at what's going on. Let's start off looking at sales. The Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver reported that we had just over 2,400 home sales in the month of March. This is up 16% relative to February, but it's down about 5% relative to this time last year, and it's 31% below the 10-year seasonal average for the month of March. If we look at this broken down by property type, we see that the largest increase was in attached townhomes, where we had 495 sales, and it was an increase of 6% relative to this time last year. Both the detached and condo segments decreased slightly, with detached home sales totaling 694 home sales, and it's down about 5.5% relative to this time last year. And for condo apartments, the total number of sales was 1,207, and this is down 8% relative to March last year. On the supply side, we had just over 5,000 homes newly listed for sale on the MLS. This is up about 10% relative to February, and it's up about 16% relative to this time last year. But relative to the 10-year sales average, we're down about 9.5%. This brings the total inventory of homes available for sale on the MLS to 10,552. This is up 9.5% relative to February, and it's up 22.5% relative to this time last year. Relative to the 10-year sales average, we're up about 6%. So how is all of this impacting prices? Well, to understand what's happening with prices and where we're headed, we want to look at our leading indicator, which is the sales to active listings ratio. Simply put, the sales to active listings ratio is looking at the number of sales in a given month divided by the total listings left over at the end of that month. Analysts have shown that when this ratio is below 12% for a sustained period of time, we're typically in buyer's market territory and prices are on their way down. When this ratio, on the other hand, is above 20% for a sustained period of time, we're typically in seller's market territory and prices are on their way up. Anything between 12 to 20%, we're typically in balanced market territory and prices stabilize. For the month of March, our sales to active listings ratio was 23.8%. This is up from 22.5% in the month of February, and it's up from 17% in the month of January. So what we see is that the ratio has steadily been increasing, and we're currently in seller's market territory where prices are on the rise. Looking at this by property type, we see that this ratio is currently 18% for detached homes, so balanced market territory, whereas attached townhomes and duplexes are in very active seller's market territory at 31.3%. And for condo apartments, we see this ratio is 25.8%. So again, fairly active seller's market territory. Even though the market feels a lot more balanced than it did this time last year, it's clear that we're still inching into seller's market territory, and that's why we continue to see prices increasing. And of course, what's surprising and interesting about this is how high borrowing costs are now relative to this time last year. Looking at prices, we see the HPI benchmark price for all property types is currently at $1,196,800. This is up 1.1% relative to February, and it's up 4.5% relative to this time last year. Looking at this by property type, we see that the benchmark price for detached homes is currently $2,007,900. This represents an increase of 1.8% relative to February, and it's up 7.4% relative to March last year. For attached townhomes and duplexes, the HPI benchmark price is currently $1,112,800. This is up 1.7% relative to February, and it's up 5% relative to March last year. For condo apartments, the HPI benchmark price is currently $777,500. This represents an increase of 0.9% relative to February, and it's up 5.7% relative to March last year. Heading into the spring market, I expect we're going to see activity continuing to increase. While buyers seem to have more selection, there's still not enough inventory on the market to satisfy the demand, especially in the lower price points. So it's very likely that we'll continue to see multiple offer situations or very tight negotiating positions in those lower price points. If you're thinking of making a move this spring or summer, get in touch and schedule a consultation. You could click the link here in YouTube down below in the description, or you could go to Instagram at adina.yvr and click the link in my bio. And to stay up to date with what's happening in the market, be sure to hit subscribe here on YouTube and follow me on Instagram at adina.yvr. That's it for now. Have a great rest of the month, and I can't wait to see you in May.